Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nate. Today I have a little book haul for you. I have some books that I have bought myself and then some that I have been gifted to from my mum. Recently my mum's got back into reading and has bought a load of books, and she's much like me in the way that instead of just buying the first in a series to like dip her toe in and see if she fancies it, she bought box sets, realised she didn't like the books and then gave them to me, which isn't fine for me. I'm not bothered by it, but yeah, it does mean that I now have a bunch of new books added to my collection, added to my physical TBR. Now I did set myself a goal of 2024 to read all the books I buy in 2024 before November, as in any books bought before November to be read in the year. That is only on books that I buy. Any books I'm gifted for, like this instance from my mum, or my birthday is coming up soon for that, that doesn't count. It's just on the books that I buy. So I will mention those as we go through. I'll do them in little sections, which is something that I need to remember when I'm going book shopping, because I just kind of went charity shopping and bought most of the books I bought for myself. I bought from charity shops. I think I bought 3 new books and then like 7 secondhand books. And yeah, kind of forgot that actually I need to read them all this year. So yeah, without further ado, let's start. Let's start with the books that I bought for myself first. Starting with the secondhand books that I bought, I have 7 of those, and yeah, I will just quickly go through them. When I do go charity book shopping, I tend to really only buy books that I've heard of through BookTube, so most of these ones will be titles that other people have probably heard of. There is one I think in here that I read the description of and it sounded cute, and they're actually, yeah, 4 of them are romances. So let's go through those first. So first up, I have The Hating Game. This is by Sally Thorne, and I've heard of it. That's one of the reasons I bought it. Pretty much the only one. It does actually sound quite good. I think it's like a academic or workplace rivals. It sounds quite cute, and yeah, I like romance. I really don't read enough romance that I actually own quite a lot of romances, and I don't read as much as I would like to, but this one sounded quite cute and I'd heard of it, so I thought for £1.79, why not pick it up? Another one that I've heard quite a lot about is The American Roommate Experiment. This is by Eleanor Armas, and I know that this is like the second book in after the Spanish Love Deception, I think, but I probably would just read this. I don't know if I have to read that one first, because I assume in most books the characters are going to end up together. Like, so even if those characters are in this book and they're together, it's not really going to be a spoiler because I'm kind of going to just assume that. So I think I wouldn't mind reading this first. I've never read anything by this author, but yeah, I saw this at a charity shop. It was £1.50, and so I picked it up. This, I think, is about a girl when her apartment, I think, gets damaged. She goes and stays with her friend's house, and her friend has actually already, or has let her cousin Lucas stay, and so yeah, things happen. Romance ensues, I imagine. I don't know if people like this one better than The Spanish Love Deception, or if like they're on equal footing, but yeah, I thought again, why not? Another one, this was £1, and that is Afterlove by Tanya Byrne. This is a sapphic love story, and it is about one of our girls. Ash gets an invitation from the afterlife, but she can't decline to join a clan of fierce girl reapers who take the souls of the city's dead to await their fate. But Ash can't forget her first love, Poppy, and she will do anything to see her again, even if it means they only get a few days together, dead or alive. So yeah, I think one of them dies, and then it becomes a reaper and finds the other one afterwards. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I never also look books up to see what their ratings or anything are. I'm just like, yeah, sure, why not? It was £1, so yeah. And then the last of the romance that I picked up secondhand was this book, Until I Met You. This is by Amber Rose Gill, and this one I hadn't actually heard of before, but I read the back and it sounded interesting. It is basically about our main character, Samantha. She's off on the holiday of a lifetime to launch her travel blog, her best friend's wedding, and hopefully her own marriage proposal. However, she ends up getting broken up with on her way there. So she ends up going, and I think has like a summer romance. I thought this would be quite a cute book, maybe to read in summer. It sounds cute. I like the idea of like her like kind of going and having this like summer of like growth and life, and you know, that kind of classic movie tropes. It just sounded like it could be quite cute, so I bought that. And then from the other 3 secondhand books, I bought The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is by Stuart Turton. This one actually has the nice red sprayed edges. I didn't 100% know what this was about until I bought it, but yeah, it's about a lady, I'm guessing Evelyn, who has been murdered, and someone, Aidan, basically I think ends up in a Groundhog Day situation where he is trying to figure out who killed her. But he keeps waking up in the different the bodies of the different guests to basically figure it out. Yeah, it just sounded really interesting. I have no idea what the rating is or anything on this, but I'd heard people talk about it, and then when I was in the charity shop I read the back and that sounded really interesting. So yeah, I bought that. Then the last 2 of the secondhand books are actually Supernova and Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. I believe these are books 2 and 3 of the Renegade series. Now, I don't own the first volume physically, but I do own the ebook of it, so these were both £1 each, so I thought, why not? Since I have the first one, I could read digitally. I've seen a lot of people reading this series recently and really getting into it and really liking it, and it sounds interesting. It's a superhero series, and I think our main girl character in the first book is part of, I guess, the Renegades, or like the bad side, and she's infiltrating the superheroes to try and take them down from the inside, I think. but I don't actually know, and I don't have the first one on hand to like read the description. But yeah, for £1 each for these two, I thought I might as well. I did have a look. They didn't have the first one there. I'm guessing someone potentially donated all three, but obviously someone bought the first one because some people don't buy all books in series, which is wild to me that you would not see all of them and think, well, they're all here, I'll pick them up. But yeah, hey ho, they were £1 each, and I'm excited eventually to get to them. I say eventually, this year. I'm excited this year to get to these two. Moving on, I then bought 3 books that I bought new, and the first one is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I still have not read anything other than The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, although I own all her adult books. But I'm very excited for this one. I know this one is an Omegaverse, which I didn't 100% know when I first heard about it, and I have read Omegaverse stuff before in fanfiction, but I've never actually read, like, straight Omegaverse stuff, so that'll be interesting. And I'm curious just to see kind of how this is. It's her first paranormal romance. I very much like werewolves. I've seen a couple of people talk about this and they liked it, but I think obviously some people that did not go in, that went into this not knowing that it was Omegaverse were a bit surprised, and especially if that's a new delve of fiction to you, it's probably surprising. It's not for me, but I'm interested to see it anyway. And yeah, I really need to crack on and read some Ali Hazelwood this year because I have her other 3 adult books, her 2 novels, and her bind-up collection, and I want to read them all. So yeah, I own Bride though. I got this from my work, and because I had points saved up, I actually didn't pay anything for it. I just used my points that, you know, get when you buy stuff. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And then from the works, I picked up King of Scars for £3. I picked this up because I already own Rule of Wolves. When I first bought Rule of Wolves, I thought that was the first book, but it's not. This is. So I will eventually get around to this anyway. I want to read Crooked Kingdom before I move on to these two, and this carries on with Nikolai's story. I mean, I suppose I could start reading this now. I don't have to wait to the end of Crooked Kingdom because this, I think, potentially happens straight after Shadow and Bone, whereas I think, well, Crooked Kingdom's like 10 years afterwards or so. So yeah, but I own this one now, and for £3, how could I not? And then while I was also in the works, I saw Done and Dusted, and I've seen a few people talk about this, and it sounded really, really cute. I haven't read a lot of cowboy romance. That's a lie, sorry. I haven't read any cowboy romance, and this is about Emmy, who I think she hurts herself horse riding, I think. Yeah, and so she goes home, and there's Luke, who is a bad boy, bar owner and bachelor. I don't know. I've heard good things about it. People really like this, and I'm interested to see if this is kind of a genre that I'm interested in. I don't think I've really read any kind of small towny romances, so I'd be interested to see if that's the kind of thing I'm into. So they are the 10 books that I bought for myself recently over the last 2 months, and now I will go into the ones that I have been given from my mother. Starting with 5 books from a series that she bought, again, like she bought the book set of, and then got, I think, a little way into the first one and was like, no, she got bored. And that's the Shatter Me series. So I have actually read Shatter Me before, but I haven't read the rest of them. I can now carry on with the series physically. I was listening to them, and I still might try and like do both, but I now have them physically as well. So yeah, the first one was okay. I didn't mind it. I think it was a bit slow, and the setting up of like the dystopian world was a bit like meh. Like, it didn't feel like it was really setting up this dystopian world until more towards the end of the story. But it is actually, when I'm looking at it compared to like the second book, it's quite a bit thinner. So I'm interested to see where the story goes after that. But yeah, I wasn't overly attached to it, but I'm interested enough to carry on with it. And so yeah, my mother gave them to me. And yeah, another series that she bought, which I'm not sure why. I don't know where she saw this series. I'm guessing she might have just been on like the works online or something like that. But it is this series by Maggie Stivata. It's Shiva, Linga, Forever, and Sinner. I think this is a trilogy with like a sequel series. Yeah, this says it's a companion novel. And this is like a really early, like, this is a noughties book, I think. I think the first book came out, let's have a look. Yeah, the first book came out in 2009. So this is quite an old YA. And I think the reason she didn't like it, well, she's only 50 pages in, but I think she just wasn't into it. And I said, maybe you need to look at less YA books. And so I introduced her to like Kindle Unlimited, where she could read all the small town smutty romances she wants to. But yeah, so I got these. This is a story about werewolves, I think. And it feels like it might have potentially been one of those books that was kind of written after the kind of like Twilight craze. Twilight, the first movie, came out in 2008. So like this would have been published just like the year after. So maybe like trying to go on like the back legs of Twilight. That's not to say that it's not necessarily good, but it feels like one of those things that at least like maybe even publishers were picking up more of these ideas because they wanted to hit that kind of demographic. So it is about a chilling love story that has you hooked from the very first pages, apparently. A local boy is killed by wolves, and Grace's small town becomes a place of fear, but she is fascinated by the pack and finds herself explicitly drawn to a yellow-eyed wolf, and then she meets him, I think, in human form. So I think it's going to be a werewolf romance, and yeah, I am interested to read it and see where it goes eventually. And then the other load of books my mother gave me feel like they're quite a bit different. Well, I think they're all adult romance books. The first one, I'm not sure why she gave me these. I think she potentially bought 2 of them. It's this series. A Touch of Malice, A Touch of Ruin, and A Touch of Darkness. I think The Touch of Darkness might be the first book, and I think this is a Hades and Persephone's retelling. I think it's a modern retelling. I don't know if there's any kind of magic in it. These are by Scarlett St. Clair. Yeah, I think it's a Persephone and Hades retelling. I have no idea if I'm gonna like it, but I have the first 3 volumes so I can give it a good try. And then I have Thorn. This is Rosewood High #1, and it's by Tracy Lorraine. I don't know if she liked, I don't know why I got this, I don't know if she didn't like it. It sounds like it might not be my thing, but she doesn't belong here. From the moment she stepped into Rosewood High, it's clear she must go, and I'll use my power to get rid of her. The betrayal I'm reminded of each time our eyes lock must end. She's a lost rich girl trying to recover from the death of her parents, but none of that is my concern. This is my life, my rules, my senior year. What I say goes, and I say she's done until she proves me wrong. I'm a bit iffy of the fact that they're still in school, and so I don't know if this is going to be like a smutty book, which if they are still in school, hopefully they're at least 18, because I'm not really interested in reading otherwise. But yeah, I'm probably not going to like this that much, but I am going to at least attempt to read it and see what I think about it, because I am someone that will give anything a chance, pretty much. So yeah, I think it's a self-pub book as well. At least that'd be an indie book that I would have at least tried to read. And then the other one is another series that I'm not 100% sure what I'm thinking of, and it's this series. This is by Sarah Kate, and it's called There Is Give Me More, Eyes on Me, and Praise. This is something called the Salacious Players Club. Okay, this was the first one I think I had seen. It's like an ex-boyfriend's dad, and I think it's about something that's set at a BDSM club. I don't know, but I have the 3 of them, and I'm not sure why my mother has these. I think she might have bought 2 sets accidentally, is my thinking, because this is a sort of book that my mum would probably really like. I don't know if they're all just set in the same world or if I have to read them in a certain order, but I have 3 of these books now, so again, I will at some point at least try and give them a try. Hello guys, so I'm just going to quickly cut in. It is now later on, it's a different week, but I bought 6 more books, and this is probably going to be the last I'm going to try and buy in March. So this will be the book haul for January, February, and March, but I bought 6 more books. So the first one is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book, book 1 in the Dark Artificers series. Now, I haven't still yet finished The Mortal Instruments, but I am intending to, and I am going to read the rest of the books in the Shadowhunters universe. I'm not sure if I should read this series first or the other one, which is Infernal Devices, I think. I don't know which one is better to read first, or if it doesn't matter. I'm going to read this eventually. I thought I would pick it up. It's £1. It is the nice big trade paperback, and yeah, really happy to have that. I then picked up Stormbreaker. This is by Anthony Horowitz, and it's the first one in his Alex Rider series, and I think that's his like most popular middle grade series. I don't know much about it. I think Alex Rider is kind of like a James Bond, but for like kids, is my imagining. And yeah, I'm reading at the moment Anthony Horowitz's Power of 5 series, which is his kind of like supernatural sci-fi fantasy-ish series, and I'm really enjoying that and finding the writing really easy to read, so I thought I might enjoy this series. I picked the first one up. I will probably just redonate it after reading it and like either borrow them from my library or like other places. It's fairly short. It's like just under 240 pages. When did it come out? It's like a book that was from the 2000s, so this is a very old series, but I think it's something I probably quite enjoy and would probably just be very quick, easy reads, so I picked up the first volume of that series. I then happened to find The Railway Detective. Now, this is book 1 in the Railway Detective series. Last year, I found book 2 of this series in a charity shop, and I bought it without really realizing it was a series. Now, I don't know if you'll need to necessarily read them in order. There's 22, I think, in this series. There was one published this year. Yeah, I think it is about like old time. Yeah, London 1850s, and there is an attack on a train and it's robbed, and I think, yeah, a detective inspector, Robert Colbeck, he comes in to investigate it. So I think they're like investigative murders that happen on railways. I don't know, it sounded interesting, so I'm going to try reading this. I have the second one in my collection, so I can read that. Like I said, it's a 22 series, so I don't know if I will buy them all. I might try and see if I can find them through my library or what. But yeah, I thought at least I saw the first one. It's the first time I've seen the first one in a charity shop, so I thought I'd grab it because I have the second one. I then grabbed The Luckiest Girl Alive. This is by Jessica Knoll, and I've heard about this, which is why I picked it up. Like I said, for most of these books get picked up because of that. And I think it's about a girl called, I want to say Annie, or it's A-N-I, I'm not sure, has a perfect life, but behind her sharp edges and meticulous crafted facade lies the darkest past. When a documentary producer invites her to tell her side of a chilling and violent incident that took place when she was a teenager at school, she hopes it will present an opportunity to prove how far she turned her life around since then. She'll even let production company film her lavish wedding. Annie's immaculate veneer starts to crack. Will breaking her silence destroy all that she has worked for, or will it last set her free? Now, I don't know if this has actually been made into a movie, now that I'm thinking about it, because when I read it, maybe I've not heard anyone speak about it, but I've seen the trailer. that might have Nina Dobrev in it now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe that's true. But yeah, I picked this up from a charity shop. I thought I'd give it a read and see what it's like. I then found Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read Daisy Jones and the Six, which I didn't love, but I liked it enough that I would be interested in carrying on with her series. I know my sister has read this and she quite enjoyed this, and it's a very, very popular book. It's one of those books you know you're eventually going to find in a charity shop, and yeah, it was £1.25, so I did pick this up. I don't know when I will get around to reading it, but I am interested in reading this and seeing where this goes. And then lastly, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I recently read Circe, which I absolutely love. I want to carry on reading more Susanna Clarke stuff. I don't know anything about Piranesi, so I'll be interested in going into this. I don't know if people really like this compared to like the other two of her works, but we'll see. But yeah, I have this now, so I'm very excited to have this, and it's now added to the collection. I do know that I like Susanna Clarke's writing, so I will at some point be interested in reading this. So flip back to past me for the outro. This is my little book haul. Like I said, these 10 in particular I would like to try and read this year. The ones I got from my mum, I'm not as worried about when I pick them up, but I will at some point give them a go to see if I like them. So yeah, let me know if you guys have read any of these books that I have shown and what you thought of them. Any you think I should read sooner? Any you think I shouldn't bother? I probably will read them regardless, but you know, I like to give everything a go. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video as always, and I shall see you again hopefully soon. Bye.